All right, today we're going to dive into a pretty radical idea. And honestly, it might just reframe everything you think you know about technology, about money, and about the future. It really all boils down to two incredibly powerful economic forces, and they're on a collision course.
I mean, it's the question on everyone's mind, right? What is AI really going to do to our economy? We're all watching its power just explode, growing exponentially day by day. And you can't help but wonder, what's the end game here? Is this a tool for some incredible new era of prosperity, or is it something else entirely?
So, the popular theory, the one you hear all the time, is that AI is just going to supercharge this K-shaped economy. You know the one, where the wealthy just shoot upwards while everyone else's future kind of trends down. And look, that's a totally legitimate fear. But what if that division, that gap, isn't the actual problem? What if it's just a symptom of a much, much bigger battle happening just beneath the surface?
Well, according to technologist Jeff Booth, if we're just focusing on that K-shaped economy, we're completely missing the point. We're looking at the wrong problem. He argues that, yeah, it's a predictable outcome of the system we're in, for sure, but it completely overlooks the real war, the fundamental battle happening right underneath our feet.
So what he's suggesting is that the real story here is a clash of titans. It's a battle between two completely opposite economic systems. One is the natural path that technology wants to take us on. The other, it's the artificial system we all live in today. And let me tell you, they are headed straight for each other.
Okay, so first, let's break down System A, what you could call the natural free market. And it operates on a principle that probably sounds really, really strange to most of us today. That word is deflation.
Now, I know we're all taught to fear deflation, right? Like it's this economic boogeyman. But in a natural free market system, it's actually a sign of progress. It just means that, hey, thanks to technology and competition, things are getting cheaper. They're getting more abundant. It means your money literally buys you more tomorrow than it does today. Your purchasing power actually goes up over time.
So how does that actually work? Well, it's this really powerful positive feedback loop. You've got entrepreneurs, right? They're all competing for your business. To win, they have to use technology to get more efficient and lower their costs. That competition naturally just pushes prices down, down, down. Now, imagine you inject a technology like AI into that loop, something that drives the costs of making stuff, well, towards zero. Suddenly, you have this absolutely unbelievable deflationary force.
And just think about the sheer mind-bending scale of this force for a second. The AI we have today is literally the worst, the dumbest it will ever be from this day forward. It gets exponentially better every single day. And that relentless, unstoppable progress brings with it an equally relentless deflationary pressure. But hold on, if technology is this massive force making everything cheaper, then why does it feel like everything in our lives is getting more expensive? Well, that brings us to the other fighter in the ring, System B, the credit-based system. And yeah, this is the global economy we're all living in right now. You see, this system operates on the exact opposite principle. It is built entirely on debt, and it requires that debt to constantly expand forever. For the whole thing to keep working, more money has to be created all the time. And what does that mean? It means the system requires inflation. Prices have to go up. It's not a bug. It's a feature. Without it, the entire debt-based structure just collapses.
So here's the battle, right? You've got these two massive forces pulling in completely opposite directions. On one side, you have technology, pulling prices down, trying to create abundance for everyone. And on the other side, you have our monetary system, which has to fight that natural trend by creating inflation and making prices rise. They simply cannot coexist forever. One of these forces has to win.
So, where does Bitcoin fit into all of this? Well, in this framework, it's not just another investment or a speculative asset. Think of it more as the measuring stick, the thing that finally makes this invisible conflict totally visible. And for some people, it's more than that. It's the escape hatch.
Okay, picture this. Think of Bitcoin as a fixed point of truth in an otherwise chaotic universe. It's this decentralized network, meaning no single person or group controls it, and it's secured by massive amounts of real-world energy. It cannot be manipulated, and it can't be inflated away. So for the first time in history, we have an incorruptible measuring stick, a way to measure value that isn't controlled by the very system that has to devalue its own money to survive.
And having this new measuring stick forces us to ask a really, really fundamental question. Next time you see the price of a house or a carton of eggs or anything going up in dollars, what is actually happening? Is the house getting more valuable? Or is the money, the very ruler you're using to measure it, just shrinking?
Let's put this into perspective with a real-world example. Let's say 5 years ago, an average house might have cost you about 300 Bitcoin, okay? Just keep that number in your head, 300.
Fast forward to today. That exact same house is now about 11 Bitcoin. So think about that. While the price in dollars went way up, its real cost, when you measure it against something that can't be printed, has completely collapsed. The house didn't actually get more expensive. The dollar just got a whole lot weaker.
So what this split creates, it's wild. It creates two completely different realities. You can have people standing right next to each other in the same room, but they are living in two totally separate economic worlds.
The host of the original podcast we're pulling from told this story. He was just walking through a regular supermarket, right, surrounded by people, and it suddenly hits him that he is experiencing a totally different reality than pretty much every other person in that store. So think about who's in that supermarket. You've got the Fiat person. They see the prices on the shelves going up, and they feel that anxiety, right? They feel the squeeze knowing their money buys a little bit less each week. But then you have the Bitcoin person. They're looking at the exact same prices, but to them, everything is actually getting cheaper over time because the thing they're using to measure value is getting stronger. One person feels dread, the other feels hope.
So really, you can break the whole population down into 3 buckets. In the first bucket, you have most people who are living entirely in the fiat system. Their savings are just quietly being eaten away by inflation. In the second bucket, you have people who own some Bitcoin, but they still think about it in dollar terms. You know, it's just an investment that goes up. And then you have the third bucket. It's a small group, but it's growing. And these are the people who have started to measure their lives in Bitcoin. They're the ones starting to experience that deflationary abundance that technology naturally creates.
And make no mistake, this process of currency debasement is not just something that happens in faraway countries you see on the news. It's happening everywhere. The only difference is the speed. As the quote says, in the West, it's so much slower. It's that classic boiling frog analogy. The water is heating up so gradually, you don't even notice until it's way too late. So, what does this all mean for us? Where does this leave you and me? Well, the final idea here is a really powerful metaphor. We are all in an open jail cell.
Think about it. We spend so much of our time and energy arguing about the details inside the cell. You know, which politician is better? Which policy should we pass? We're so focused on rearranging the furniture in the jail cell that we don't even realize the bigger picture. The real choice isn't about that stuff. The real choice is simply recognizing that the door has been unlocked the whole time.
And that, right there, is the final question this whole idea leaves us with. If one system is designed for control and manufactured scarcity, and the other is designed for freedom and natural abundance, the door between them is wide open. So the question is, what does it take to finally see it? And what does it take to decide to walk through it?